Hi everyone, it's Helen here and thank you for joining me today. So today we're going to be making this absolutely adorable micro mini album. So I'll be showing you exactly how to make this, and it's super duper easy, and it has 6 pages, and each page has a pocket. So this is absolutely tiny. I'm sure I could probably make a smaller one as well. So we have these tiny little inserts. These open up. You can make this just a single-sided thing with a photo in, or you can add a photo in the centre. There's plenty of room for journaling as well. So you can also have these inserts with just one side tucked in, so you get a flap as well. So let's show you the paper that I've used to set that aside. Right, so this is the lovely paper pad we're going to be using today. It's called Beyond the Shore, and it's by First Edition Paper, and this is the 12x12. It comes in 8x8 and 6x6, and this pad costs £12.99 from Craft Stash. And I checked the stocks this morning, and everything is in stock in all of those sizes. And we do international postage as well, so if you add it to your cart, it will tell you in the checkout how much it will cost to be shipped to you. And also, if you sign up to their newsletter, you can claim 20% off your first order. So this pad is absolutely lovely. It's got some lovely treatments on some of the pages. So I'm just going to do a quick flick through. It's a lovely mermaid seaside theme. Just love the purples here. This is one of my favourites here. I'm going to be using that for our pages. So this is another one of my favourites too. So we've got some lovely marble there. And this is another one of my favourites. I think most of them are my favourites. Yeah, this is another favourite there. Love those stars. Lovely glitter treatments on there. Got some bubbles. So the pages that have treatments on them are single-sided. Got some lovely waves there. Okay, and this one's got a pearlescent sort of finish as well. It's like a galaxy. Okay, so let's show you how to make it. So we're going to start off with our chipboard pieces first. So we don't actually have any wraps or covers or anything that's going around. This is just bare chipboard, and I've just inked it. So let me just grab my measurements. Right, so the covers are going to measure 2.5 by 2 1/4. So I have a 2.5 inch strip here of 1mm thick chipboard. So if you're looking for this on eBay or Amazon, you can type in mount board, chipboard, or grey board. Grey board is a good one if you're checking that out on eBay. I haven't actually bought any off Amazon yet, so I would look that up. I don't really like to recommend or put links in my description box if I haven't actually bought the product, so that's just wrong. So we're going to cut this one at 2 1/4. So this is my old Fiskars trimmer. I love Fiskars trimmers, and I keep one a spare aside with an old blade in it, just for cutting up my chipboard. So once I do have another Fiskars trimmer, and then once those blades get a little worn down, then I move them into this one. And if you just have the one trimmer, just keep one of your blades spare, and then you can use that for your chipboard. It saves getting your ruler and your craft knife out. So I've got 2 for the cover. So these measure 2.5 by 2 1/4, and the spine is going to be paper. So let's move everything aside again. Grabbing my other paper trimmer now. This is my other one. This does take a different blade though, so I do have a nice selection of my old blades for my other trimmer. So I'm going to be using this one, and we're going to be cutting all across here. So when we have our pages, it's going to kind of meander through the tones of the colours on the page. So we're going to trim this one out. So we're going to use it at the full 12 inches. And we're going to cut it at 2 inches, so we're going to need 2 strips of these. So I haven't done any pre-cutting. Well, I've done some of the pre-cutting, but most of the cutting I'm going to talk you through. So I think that's all the cutting that we need to do together now. Right, so now grab a scoreboard. Pop that in long ways. And then we're going to score every 2 inches on both of the strips of paper. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. And then again at 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. And now while we've got the scoreboard out, I'm going to do my spine piece. So this measures 2 by 2.5. Score at 3/4 of an inch. Going to turn it, and then we're going to score again at 3/4 of an inch. So now we have this gap here, so we're going to score at every line in the middle. So it should look like this. So that's our spine piece. We can set that aside. So grab your strips again, and then we're going to fold them. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to join these two together. So I want to kind of join the purples together, just like so. So we're going to have to cut some more strips here. Just going to take a little section here. So my 2 strips are going to measure 2 inches by 1 inch, and then we're going to score just at, I think it's 1/2 an inch. There we go. Let's fold these in half. Now I'm going to use some double-sided tape. I'm going to be using these on the inside, so we're going to attach them together just like so. I'm also going to trim them down at the end slightly so that they're slightly tapered. You don't really have to do that, but I do think it gives it a neater finish. My pokey tool out. I think I might be alright though. I'll take that one off last. So I'm going to have this in this position here, and I'm going to butt this right up to there, but I still kind of don't want to go right up to the score line, just so that it will still fold for me. I should have made 3 of these. So when you make yours, make 3 of those. I'm going to use my grid mat here just to help me line up these pages. So I need a 3rd hand really. There we go, so that's joined together now. So we can fold all this together, and we've almost got our book. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add these onto the side, and I accidentally added the tape to the wrong side, so let me go and fix that and I'll come back with the correct pieces. Okay, so that's all fixed. So these measure 1 inch by 2 inches, and I've scored them at 1 just like with the other one, and I've added double-sided tape to one side and then turn it over, and I've added double-sided tape to the other side, so that when we add it to the book, we're going to have this side adhered to there, and this flap here is going to go on the inside page of the grey board that we just trimmed out. So grab some glue. I'm going to be using some wet glue here called Collall. I find wet glue is much better, especially if you have things sliding in and out of pockets. With dry adhesive, like with the double-sided tape, things can get stuck onto the tape that you've used, but with a glue it will just dry and nothing will get trapped. Right, so we're going to add glue to each side along this edge here and along this edge there, and we're going to close it. So that's going to make our pocket, and then we're going to go all the way down. So I'll do a couple and then we'll shoot to the end where I've glued everything together. Add the glue again, just a very thin line, and then hold that down. And we're going to do exactly the same on this side here. So every second square and fold that just like so. So keep going down. So this square, this square, this square, and this one on the end, and then we'll be right back with everything glued together. Okay, so we're just coming up to the last one now, and I forgot to tell you that you needed to do something. So we have to add these hinges here before we add the glue to the pages. So these are the other 2 hinges. So these measure the same as the hinge that went in the middle here. So I've put tape on one side and then tape on the opposite side, so that when we add this here, it gets closed up like so. And then we have double-sided tape on these hinges here, so we can glue it to the covers. So let's just quickly get that on. All the measurements are going to be written down on the project page for this project, and the link will be down below for that. That will take you straight to my website with a dedicated page for this one. Oh, I took the wrong one off. Not concentrating. See if we can get that back on again. There we go. Right, this one. This is the one we need. Okay, and now we can seal this one shut. Just double check that I have the right side. That's the top. Don't want to be gluing one to the top and one to the bottom. Having one upside down is not going to be fun, is it? Okay, I'm going to set that aside just to quickly dry. Put my block on there just to keep it closed. Right, so I've also pre-treated these chipboard pieces that we cut out. So I used, where is it? Distress Oxide ink in Peacock Feathers. Favourite colour. It goes perfectly with this paper set. So this should more or less set now. So now what we can do is get this stuck down. Do one side at a time. So what I want is this line, the spine straight with this side, and then an equal amount of space of the book either side. So just like so, and you can just double check. There's a little bit of extra space up there, but that's fine. We're going to need that for the pockets, so I'm just going to move that down a bit more. There we go, so now we do have space for things in the pockets there. So it's up to you whether you want to leave equal space. There should still be enough space if it is equal. So I'm going to get that one stuck there. Just making sure that these chipboard covers are lined up now, all the way around. So the second one's a lot easier to get on than the first one. Okay, so that's our book almost done. It's looking very book-like. So let's get the spine piece done. So this measures 2 by 2.5, and I've scored at 3/4 of an inch here. I've turned it, done 3/4 of an inch here, and then I've scored at every 1/8 of an inch in the middle, and that's going to give us our spine piece. So now I'm just going to grab something round. This pencil will do. And now what we're going to do is, first off, we just need to get our outside creases done, so we have that. And then we can take our pencil and we can just round the spine, just gently creasing the inside score lines. So now we have a nice curved spine that we can add to our book, just like so. Right, so we're going to be using more double-sided tape. We need absolute coverage for this. This place here where I've put the tape is going to be the weakest part of the spine, other than the fact that it's made of paper and may tear, so we need to be careful with the usage of this. But the next point of stress is just by this score line here and onto this section here. When we open the book, I might be able to explain better by showing you here. So this section here, so if this section here is not properly glued down really well, then this may lift, and then your spine will start to come away from the book, and it just won't look very nice. It won't last as long. So we're going right up to the score line here. I'm going to add some wet glue as well. I do have a thinner tape as well, so we're going to add that. Okay, so we're not going to be tapering this at all. I'm just going to be sticking it on as it is. I'm going to do one side at a time, so bone folder and press that down. So I just love these tiny little books. You could probably make some smaller ones for a doll's house. So this is more like a Barbie sized book, a large Barbie sized book. Okay, so let's take some glue. Add the glue there. This is going to give us a little bit of wiggle space as well, just so that we can get this lined up properly. So we want this bottom edge here to go right up to the score line, but enough for the score line to move around. So there we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave that to dry and set, and once that has taken probably about 5 minutes, I'll be right back to do the other side, because gluing this one straight on afterward is going to add stress. As you can see, it's starting to come away here. There, so we want this one to be fully dry and stuck down properly before we go ahead and stick the top half on there. So I'm going to leave that for 5 minutes and then I'll be right back. Okay, so that's had about 5 minutes and that's pretty much dry now and set, so we can add this one and close our book up. So this one's going to be slightly more fiddly, because we want the gap, the round gap round here. We also want this to fit on really well, line up there. Also try and get this as flat as possible along here, just so that it has a chance to dry properly. And then we can close it. Right, so now what we're going to do is just going to leave it just like that. We're not going to open it up straight away. We need to leave that some time now to dry. But in the meantime, we can do our inside and outside covers. So I've got some more of this lovely paper here, the one with the glittery stars. So the outside covers are going to measure 2 3/8 by 2 1/8. Then you need 4 of these because the inside and outside covers are going to be the same size. So for this one here, I did mat. I did take another piece of the paper from the paper pack and I matted it to this size, and then I made 1 1/8 of an inch smaller to fit in there. So I'm just going to use this one today, just to make a slightly less fussy cover. So this would look lovely with someone's initial just here. I'll do this one on the other side. See, I cut these just after I sponged those. Still on my fingers yet. I've washed my hands, it's not going to come off. So everyone I meet today is going to know that I've been crafting. Okay, so we're going to set that aside, and now we're going to deal with our inserts. So I have 6 of these. So I have 6 of the lovely mermaids. Just look at the lovely sparkles on there. The sun's come out to shine as well. Oh, yikes, I'm going to have to sort that out. Okay, so the sun has gone back in. I can see some clouds coming over, so I might have to get the big blind down. We're going to cope just as we are at the moment. So these measure, grab my ruler, 1 5/8 by 4. And we're going to score these at 2 inches. Just like so. I'll just do that on all 6 of them because there's going to be 6 pockets. There we go. Fold all these down. So if you're wondering how on earth you're going to get your photographs this small, the thing I would suggest, and I've got 2 suggestions actually for home printing, is open up a Word document, just a normal Microsoft Word, and you can adjust the margins along the top edge and along the side, so you can make them bigger, so you can go right towards the edge of the paper. And then what you do is you go to the top row where the drop down boxes are, and you go to insert and then click insert, and then you get the drop down box, and then you can choose insert picture or photo, and then go to the place where your photos are and then add it. And then if you click on the picture once it's been added, and then there's those little boxes for resizing along the photo edges, the 4 corners, and you can click on that and you can make it smaller and you can make it larger. So you can make a whole bunch of these on an A4 piece of paper, and then you can just print it out, and then you have tiny photographs to add to your tiny book. So that's one way to do it. So while I'm just going to introduce this. This is a corner chomper by We Are Memory Keepers. Love this stuff. I love anything by We Are Memory Keepers. So we're going to corner chomp our way through these corners. You can do that. You don't have to round those top sides off, but I'm just going to do that, just to make it slightly different from the previous book. Right, so the second way of doing it is highlighting all of the photos that you want to print, so make sure they're all in the same folder, and then you right click, click print, and then with most printing software on your computer that comes with your printer, you'll have some pages to choose from down the side, and when you can choose the layout of how you want it printed. So I like to choose index, and that will print out all of your photos that you've highlighted teeny tiny. But my favourite way is using the Word. So this should have pretty much dry now. Oops, that's come off. I'm going to add some glue to this. This is why it's always good to use the glue. I think perhaps maybe the Oxide ink has caused that to come away. So let's get that stuck back on again. Okay, so I'm going to give that just a few minutes just to set, and then we can get these stuck in there. Okay, so I've let that dry, so now we can pop these in. Make sure your book's not upside down. Let's pop those in here. If you do find that it's a little hard to get them in, you can just take a bone folder and just go in here just to get that space, but try not to poke it all the way through. So I'm going to put these in alternately. Okay, so all we have to do now is add our inner pages, sorry, the inner covers. Ah, it's come off again. Right, I didn't leave that to glue. Didn't leave that glue to dry long enough. There we go, that's that page done. Add some more glue to this one. Pop that on the inside here. And there we go, there's our book, it's complete. Right, so I'm going to leave this for a good hour now just to make sure that it's dry all the way through. So I really do hope that you give this little micro mini a go. These are really fun to make and really fun to use as well, especially if you fill them with tiny photographs. They're just so much fun to look through. So thank you for joining me today. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Please subscribe if you like this sort of thing. I always make a lot of albums, so there's never a shortage of those on my channel. So thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.